Okay, so here we have, well, good morning, folks. Been a very frustrating day for me. This is like the fourth time me starting to my recording, so I'm having to chop up my video here to make sure this thing doesn't crash on me. So we're going to start off. Today is Saturday, the 1st of November. So we start November. Well, no tropical systems, thank God. And overall, the conditions in the U.S. are pretty calm. We have this satellite loop overlaid with radar. Actually, this is water vapor, mid-level water vapor, the radar here. You have the onshore flow here in the northwest, generally going over this way. And this trough building this way, we may have some severe weather off the down here today. You see dry air for a good portion of the south, but this flow is generally going this way. This will move down here and move out, and generally the flow will be more zonal going forward. So what does the flow look like, guys? You have the mid-level low we were talking about on the satellite loop. Move through the flow there, moves down to the south, generally lifts out, is cut off from the main flow. You see the main flow moving through here, right? And along the northwest coast, they're still getting into, but you have some high pressure building in the Mountain West. A little bit. So that's the warm weather will persist here along the southern tier because there's no really cold. Um, Most of the flow is coming off the Pacific right now, not down from the Arctic. This is more coming from this way, right? So it's going to help to moderate the temperatures, right? So if we look at current temps, let's see if we have this current temps warming up in the south, warming up out here in the Mountain West and east of the Rockies. Highs and lows in currently it's in 20s and 30s or 40s, 30s for the northern tier here. So not too bad. Um, Now, as far as the surface goes, when we compare that to the flow, right? Look through what we got at the surface. Maybe some severe weather right along Texas coast today. But beyond that, maybe a low, maybe some precip right along the southeast with this low moving offshore. The northern tier into Canada stays in the mix, but on the northwest, you see more flow coming on shore here. And you have northerly flow that's bringing some clipper type systems, if you would call them that. Um, but overall progressive in nature and not really staying there very long. Okay. Temperatures, right? We play this through. Let's speed this up a little bit. Slow it down a little bit. You see where it's warming up some, right? Overall, a warming trend for the good portion of the United States. Although the northern tier stays cold, you have some little intrusions of cold air, but overall, not a lot going on. Not a lot of cold air, except maybe in the northeast towards the end of the period here. As far as snowfall goes, this is where the most snowfall has occurred so far this year. Of course, in the Intermountain West, Rockies, the mountains, we would expect that. Northern High Plains into the northeast. So, what's going to look like in the tropics in the coming days? Well, the European has a UC European Ensemble. They put a product out that shows possible tropical cyclone development chances here, and we'll play this through. Overall, Caribbean is favored to maybe have a 10, 20, 30% chance of development um, through the 13th of November. Hopefully, if it does develop, it won't hit land, So we'll just have to see how that plays out. And this is headlined as well here in the Global Tropics Hazards Outlook. 20% chance of development in these areas here, the hashed areas. What's the precip totals look like? Risk was heavy precip in the continental U.S. Slight risk in these areas here, which is what we would expect with the flow the way it is. Snow probabilities, not unusual really this time of year. Slight risk of heavy snow. Although the wind, you got a slight risk of high winds here on the days listed, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So when we look at temps in the short to midterm range, maybe mid-range, above normal temperatures are likely for most of the nation, except along the East Coast. Precip chances above normal expected where it's closer to the jet stream, and then along the Gulf Coast here, below normal chances, the 6th to the 10th, or likely of precip here where it's a darker browns. Temps in November 8th through 14th, expected to be above normal for a good portion of the nation except for the Northeast. More or less the same thing with the precip. You see where the below normal below chances of below normal precip are highest in the dark browns here. And move further a little bit further out in time, week to 3 to 4 temperature outlook. Warmer than normal expected east of the Rockies. Equal chances of being above or below normal in the rest of the nation. Still above normal precip chances in the northern tier, and that kind of looks at the jet stream, where the jet stream is, right? And with the jet stream not dipping too far south, not bringing in moisture from the Gulf, gonna be dry. Yep. So, yeah, so you see where that's dry there. Monthly temperature outlook for November. We already probably got to get an idea that it's going to be this way, but equal chance above or below normal along the East Coast. Rest of the nation, good chance of being above normal. Still a good chance of being below normal precip the month of November for the whole month of November in the southern tier of the U.S. And equal chances to the north of that, and of course to the north here along the west coast, northwest coast, and the northeast, above normal chances of precip. Chances are higher that you'll get above normal precip in the darker greens, right? And chances are higher that you'll get below normal precip in the browns. You go a little bit further out, November, December, January, 3 months. Still looking to be above normal for a good portion of the nation, right? Equal chances of being above or below normal the northern tier. Same with the precip. We've been seeing this trend, and it continues, at least according to Climate Prediction Center, um, for the foreseeable future here. So, what does excessive rainfall look like in the short term? We have a slight risk of excessive rainfall today along the northwest coast. Next couple of days after that, going into Monday, we don't have anything. And day 4, which is Tuesday, marginal risk along the west coast. And again, the day after that. When we look at severe weather, we only have a marginal risk severe weather today. And after that, um, there's no severe risk, although general thunderstorms in some areas, but not much at all. And today's threat is driven by wind, marginal risk of wind, and hail. So overall, not too bad. And when we look at total precip in the short term, where's it going to be? Day 1 through 7. Take this off here. You see where we've been talking about where the most precip's going to be along the Gulf Coast a little bit in the short term, and then in the Northeast, maybe into Canada, some on the border here between Canada and New York, and of course along the Northwest Coast. Middle part of the country is going to be pretty dry for the next week or so. Well, that's all I got today, guys. I'm glad I was able to get through this video finally, and I hope you have a great Saturday.